إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى كره لكم ثلاث قيل وقال إضاعة المال وكثرة السؤال وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الاقتصاد في النفقة نصف المعيشة. My dear respected brothers and sisters, once again I welcome you all into another night, another episode of our Guiding Stars. May Allah Azza wa Jal accept your sacrifice for His sake. We're all sitting here sacrificing our time, whereas we could have gone home and done much more. But now, tonight we are taking our time out for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah Azza wa Jal reward you for your time. Ameen. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. My brothers and elders, in today's time, there's a phenomenon that has spread amongst us all, and that is our constant complaints, unfortunately. To the extent that even the religious ones amongst us are complaining, to the degree that we have solely lost our reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And specifically, I'm referring to the fact that we all are aware of the inflation taking place. So because things and materials are getting expensive, houses have skyrocketed, cars have gotten expensive, the price of food has increased. So a message to me and us all is, Inna Allaha huwa ar-razzaq. Allah mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the sustainer. No one else can sustain us besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we have our reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow the remedies and the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the a'mal and the actions that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stipulated for us, believe me, you will not even see poverty in your family. Now, one thing is our needs, another thing is our wants. These are two different aspects of life that we need to separate from one another. A person earning $200,000 a year may still consider himself to be poor. Why? Because he's comparing himself with someone who's earning $2 million a year, right? Whereas the needs of that person are to be fulfilled with a salary of $60 to $70 or $80 or $90,000 a year, right? So we have to separate our needs and our wants. The Prophet ﷺ says that al-iqtisadu fi nafaqati nisful ma'isha, that if you want half of your problems of your life to go away, then be moderate when it comes to your spending and live according to your means, preferably below your means, but never ever go above your means. If you're earning $6,000 a month, then live a life of a person who's earning $6,000 a month. If a person has $5,000 in his bank account and he finances a car worth $70,000, $80,000, do you think he's going to have it easy? No. And you will see that the very same person is complaining about inflation, about the economy going down, unfortunately. Now, Allama ibn Kathir rahimahullah, in his book of tafsir, which is considered to be one of the most monumental tafsir books, and this is also mentioned in Ma'arif al-Quran, the story and the conversation of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu and Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu visited Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu when Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was on his deathbed. So the Khalifa is Uthman, and the great companion of the Prophet ﷺ, Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, whose life I shared with you, he's not an ordinary companion of the Prophet ﷺ, he's in his deathbed. He's on his deathbed. Uthman radiyallahu anhu says to him, "What are you suffering from, O Abdullah?" He replies that, "O Uthman, O Amirul Mu'mineen, I'm suffering from my sins. So whatever it is that I am going through, the pain of death, it is due to my sins." And who's saying this? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. Uthman radiyallahu anhu says to him, "O Abdullah, do you desire anything?" He says, "Yes, I only desire Allah's mercy." No, the answer that a person is going to give is, something else besides something that is related to the hereafter, right? Oh, I have this need that needs to be fulfilled, or take care of my family, or take care of my business, make sure this is taken care of after I depart from this world. But no, his focus is solely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Uthman radiallahu anhu says to him, "Oh Abdullah, should I call someone who can attend to your medical needs, a doctor?" Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu says that the one who gives shifa is Allah, and the one who gives shifa has given me this sickness. So therefore, who else is there to be called besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There's no need for even a doctor. Then Uthman radiallahu anhu says, "Oh Abdullah, may I send an allowance for you, some money that you can leave behind for your family?" Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu says respectfully, "No, I have no need for this." Uthman says, "Oh Abdullah, accept it, you are leaving behind daughters." And imagine living as a female 1400 years ago, where you have to walk a few mile radius just to fetch some water, right? Where you have to harvest and do all the work yourself. It's not like you can go into the market area and you will have everything easily available for you. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said to him that, "O Uthman, O Amirul Mu'mineen, you are worried about my daughters, that they might suffer from poverty after my demise, after my death." And this is every single father's worst nightmare, isn't it? That the kids suffer from poverty after the demise and the death of the father. So while the father is alive, what does shaitan do? Shaitan uses this fear in making sure that the father makes and takes decisions that are not in favor of his hereafter. So he treads the path of haram. As long as income is coming in, let it come in, whether it's from halal resource or haram resource, it doesn't matter, as long as I leave something behind for my children, right? Isn't that what we think? We all do. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said that there's no need for this, and I'm not worried about my daughters, because I heard from my ears the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that the one who recites Surah Al-Waqi'ah every night, poverty will never afflict him. And I have advised my daughters that after my death and my demise, always recite Surah Al-Waqi'ah before you go to bed. So the advice of the Prophet ﷺ is what? During inflation, recite Surah Al-Waqi'ah. Recite Surah Al-Waqi'ah before we go to sleep, and there's no need to worry about any economical or financial collapse, right? But rather, we should always rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My brothers and sisters, tonight's story is in regards to a great companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To him we owe a very great deal because of his intellect and because of his mashwara. The Prophet ﷺ and the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were able to ward off a genocide during the battle of Ahzab and Khandaq. And it was such a scary moment and a frightening moment for the Muslims that Allah Himself describes it inside the Quran, وَبَلَغَتِ الْقُلُوبُ الْحَنَاجِرِ. As a figure of speech, He says figuratively that the hearts had reached the throats. In other words, the Muslims, they saw death in front of them and they were all frightened, and they all knew that they're going to now be killed from the opposing party and that they do not stand a chance against them. Now, a companion of the Prophet ﷺ by the name of Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu from Persia, he said to the Prophet ﷺ after he accepted Islam, that, "O Prophet of Allah, whenever the Romans would attack us Persians, we would ward off and stop their attacks by digging a huge trench around the city. So in that way, they or the horses are unable to jump over that trench." So Salman radiallahu anhu gave this idea to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very pleased with this idea, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam dug equivalent to 10 men himself. equivalent to 10 men, to show that the leaders are not just the ones who are always ordering, but the leader should be the one also, someone who's also involved with those that are under him. Now, Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ says in regards to him that Ana sabiqul Arab, I'm the first Muslim from amongst the Arabs. Isn't the Prophet ﷺ the first Muslim from amongst the Arabs? Yes, he is. And he says that Suhaib is the first Muslim from the Romans. And then he ﷺ says that Salman is the first Muslim from amongst the Persians. And then he ﷺ says that Bilal radiallahu anhu is the first Muslim from amongst the Abyssinians. So this was a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in regards to Salman al-Farsi radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was known as the seeker of truth because his story is such a story that brings tears to the eyes. His entire life he was searching for truth. And then finally he stumbled upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he himself, after when he accepted Islam, he narrates that I grew up in the city of Asfahan. Where's Asfahan? Who can tell me? Iran. So he says that in the city of Asfahan, which was at that time known as Persia, he says that I grew up in that city in the village known as Jayyan. And my father was the chief and the one in charge of the village or the city, and he was the richest person, and our house and our business and our lands were the biggest and the most. So he is born into a rich family. So he says that since I was a child, my father loved me to the extent that he would not like it when I would go travel somewhere. So you know, some parents are overprotective of their kids, right? So his father was so overprotective that Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu says that just like how young girls who were not married were protected in the home, similarly I was also protected in the home. So if he had to go somewhere, it was difficult for him to go somewhere. He needed the permission of his father. So he radiallahu anhu would sometimes leave the house only when he would need to attend the need that his father had given him permission to attend to. Now, he says that one day my father became extremely busy with the affairs of the city, and he said to me that go to the land and check on the crops and the harvest and the vegetables and the fruits. So he says, when I exited my house and I'm walking to the land of my father, the church that was there was some form of worship being done, and some voices were coming out of the church. So my heart inclined towards it. So now Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu is not an ordinary person at that time. You know, when someone becomes the president, the imam, or the person in charge of a masjid, they're looked upon with the eye of respect. Yes or no? It's an honor to be a person in charge of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Salman al-Farsi radiallahu anhu and his family, they belonged to Zoroastrianism, fire worshipping. So he radiallahu anhu, before accepting Islam, was actually the one in charge of the fire that they used to worship. His duty was to make sure that the fire is never extinguished or put out, and it is always on. So it was a sense of honor. So that honor is not given to any regular Tom, Dick, and Harry in the society. It's given to someone who's very special. So Salman radiallahu anhu, the fact that he was given this responsibility of protecting the fire that they worship, this was an honor for him. And his father was also proud of it. Now, Salman radiallahu anhu, when he went inside the church, he saw the Christians with the bishops and the priests and the monks praying. And he says that I said to myself, I take an oath by the one who is beyond, who's above me, in other words, Allah, that their religion is better than fire worshipping, Zoroastrianism. So therefore he says, I am not a Zoroastrian anymore, I have become a Christian. So by the evening when he went home, his father said to him, what happened with the crops and the responsibility that I had given you? He says that, oh my father, and he relates the incident to him. So his father did not like this, and he chained him in the house. Somehow, Salman radiallahu anhu was able to break free of the chain, and he was able to send a message to the locals of that church about a caravan which was going to Syria, where he wanted to meet the bigger scholars or the bigger ulama of Christianity, and the monks and the bishops and the people in charge of the church, so he can learn more about Christianity. Now he radiallahu anhu went all the way to greater Syria, Ash-Sham. And when he went there, the monk who was in charge of the church, he started to spend nights and days with him. Now you see, when you spend time with someone, you get to know about their good habits and bad habits. So the bad habit that the Christian monk at that time had, which Salman radiallahu anhu caught on to, was that he would collect donations and gold and dirhams and dinars, and he would say, in the name of Jesus the Savior, donate. And the people in the church would donate, but then he would hide it under his mattress. And he did this for a very long time. Salman radiallahu anhu caught him. When he died, Salman radiallahu anhu revealed this secret. So the locals, they disliked this monk so much that they decided not to bury him, and they nailed him on a cross and threw stones at his body. And then the next monk came, and then the next one came, the next one came. So Salman radiallahu anhu is now getting a bit older and older, and he's spending his years sort of in confusion. Wait, Zoroastrianism? No. Judaism? No. Wait, but this concept doesn't make sense. Wait, that makes sense. Now, when he had spent time with these Christian monks, they had told him that the last prophet, when he comes, he will have a sign. And that sign is that he will not eat from the wealth of sadaqah or zakah. He will not eat that wealth, but rather he will only accept regular gifts. Now, in a city called Amuriya, which in modern day is in the West Bank, in Palestine, in West Bank, by the, it borders Syria, right? So this is where all of this is taking place. A group of Arabs who had come to Syria to conduct their business, Salman radiallahu anhu approached them, and he said that this is all the money that I have. Take me to the land of Arabia. Why? Because he heard that the last prophet, or a man claiming to be the last prophet, has manifested, and he wants to go and test him and see if what the Christian monks had said in regards to him was true or not. Now Salman radiallahu anhu, what happened was they agreed, and he paid them the money, but on their way back to Medina, right, they stopped by a valley which is known as Wadi al-Qura, and this is a valley between Medina and Syria. So in that valley, the Arabs used to stop and conduct their trade and business. He's only one man, and there are multiple of them. They all decided that we will sell him as a slave and make more money. So they all ganged up against him, and they sold Salman radiallahu anhu as a slave. Now Salman radiallahu anhu is shocked that I was a free man, belonged to a rich family. I ran from my family in search of haqq, in search of the truth, and this is what happens to me. So the one who bought him was a man from the Banu Qurayza tribe, which belonged to Medina. So they took him all the way to Medina, and now time is passing by, months, and Allah knows how many years has passed by. He did not get a chance to go travel to Makkah al-Mukarramah to meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now Salman radiallahu anhu himself, he's narrating this himself after he accepted Islam. He says that one day I had climbed the tree of the garden of my master, and my master was under the tree. So he's probably plucking the fruits and fixing the leaves and cutting some leaves. Allah knows what he was doing. He says that my master's nephew came and he said, "Oh uncle, the man who claims to be the last prophet in Mecca has now come to Medina." So now Salman radiallahu anhu says that shivers ran through my spine, and I was losing my balance, and I almost fell from the tree. So he says, when I realized that I was about to fall down from the tree, I quickly climbed down. When he climbed down, his master gave him a nice beating, and he said to him, "Go back to your work." So Salman radiallahu anhu, you see the struggle that he radiallahu anhu went through? So he says that night, I managed to get a hold of some dates, and I ran to this man who's claiming to be a prophet and the last prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I said to him that this date is sadaqah, zakat and sadaqah. So he says that the Prophet ﷺ distributed amongst his companions and he did not eat anything. So he says, now I started to think that this man really is a prophet of Allah. So he radiallahu anhu ran back and he got a hold of more dates, and he said that now my intention is to give this to you as a gift. So the Prophet ﷺ ate from there. And he said that I'm shocked at your honesty. Right, that you have nothing available to eat, right? And you just traveled from Mecca to Medina. You went through so much. The fact that you did not accept the dates initially clearly shows that you are an honest man. So therefore, he accepted Islam. And he was standing by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and doing this, and he kept on looking at the body of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood that Salman wants to see the part of the body of the Prophet ﷺ where it was the seal of the prophethood was. So the Prophet ﷺ, lifted his garment and he showed him that part of the body. So now Salman radiallahu anhu was completely satisfied that the Prophet ﷺ really is a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Salman radiallahu anhu needs to be freed. He cannot remain a slave. So he had an agreement with his owner and with his master. The master said, I need a garden that has 300 date trees, palm trees, and he named an unimaginable amount of gold. So the Prophet ﷺ gathered all the Sahaba that whoever has whatever in their possession, bring it. So they were able to gather the gold. But now, how are you going to make 300 palm trees and date trees grow? That takes years. It takes a very long time. So the Prophet ﷺ said that I will plant those trees with my own hand, and within a very short span the trees grew and they started to bear the dates. And then that's how Salman radiallahu anhu was freed. Up until today, 1400 years later, the same garden, the same trees are bearing the dates. Those of you who have gone for Hajj or Mecca and Medina, in Medina, about I think 5 miles away from Masjid Nabawi, the garden of Salman radiallahu anhu is still there. If you go there, you will see the palm trees are still standing tall. They're still giving dates, and the water that's there is still fresh, and it's cold. That water, for some reason, every time I drank it, it was always cold. Every time I drank it, it was always cold, even though it's hot outside. So the miracle of the Prophet ﷺ exists up until today. So the next time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to perform Hajj or Umrah, whenever we are in Madinatul Munawwara, make sure you visit the garden of Salman al-Farsi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So this was a quick history and overview about the life of Salman radiyallahu anhu, and the garden which still stands tall in Madinatul Munawwara. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to make amal and to act upon whatever was just said, and to make us from amongst those who will be resurrected with the Siddiqeen, Shuhada and Salihin. Jazakumullah wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.